Om Bhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat Om Bhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat.
On the first meeting, they will enter into a exalted state of consciousness, or a bubble of state, which I have spoken about before. And this state can and will last for days, or in some cases, months. This is a very important sign because it is indicative solely and unique to twin flames. You will not find soulmates or any type of relationship entering into this mystical, exalted state of consciousness between two people. And the reason it's so exaltified and intense because it's enhanced by the higher self with the two individuals, and they go into this particular phase which is euphoric, it's mystical as I've explained to you before, and it is a bona fide twin flame sign and one of the most important ones, so hopefully somebody will grasp it in this one and put it up. So we eliminate a lot of confusion. Okay, and I will be giving a little explanation of some of them as we go along too, if you don't mind. In the act of intimacy, the twins will experience lovemaking beyond the physical sensations. They will experience sexuality in an etheric or second body, which is not physical. Now, to explain that a little bit, and I know this sign here, as I've explained it, that when they do connect, they reach a point where they get into this moving beyond the physical of experience, the sensations and the physical sensations of sexual coming together, and they get into this etheric or this second body, and it is because the twin flame union is beyond physicality, it's beyond emotional, it's beyond mental, and it actually moves into the potential of being far beyond sexual union in the physical aspect that it is. And this is a very important sign for a twin flame union. And I can say with 100% confidence, degree of confidence, if I may, I'm talking bona fide twin flames here, folks. I'm not talking about the Twinkies and the wannabe twins and the chat room group twins. I'm talking about real twins who get a hold of us. All of them speak about this, the action that goes on in this second body for twin flames, that most of them, they have a hard time to explain it because they've not experienced it for a long time. They've forgotten all about it. The situation is they have to get acclimatized to doing this. And this is part and parcel, one of the reasons why we have that exalted state, to allow these signs and symptoms, these indications of a twin flame union to take place. The ability to be able to experience sexuality or sexual expression in a second body or an etheric body, if you want to call it that. And this is the thing, they all have a hard time explaining it. I know very well what they're talking about when they tell me about it. So, because I've experienced it so many times. All right. In the second body, all limitations of the physical in sexual expression are gone. And do I mean gone? In the second body, twin flames can and will experience multiple orgasms. Now, I don't mean multiple orgasms in the sense of you will be expending seminal fluid. What I'm talking about is energetic orgasms that build in the reproductive organs, and they're like flashes of light, flashes of energy, pulsations of energy. And what can happen is this, for example, and I'm speaking from a male point of view, is in the second body, as I mentioned, there's no limitations. Whatever you can conjure up in the second body that you can think of and manifest will move. And it's kind of strange that this happens also in these connections in the second body. And this is a bona fide symptom that I'm talking about here, is the situation is as such. I want to say this with the greatest of conviction. Many times when I listen to people who talk about twin flames, they talk about the romance. Let me tell you something. You really don't know what sex is. And until you actually experience a connection, the intimacy, the act of intimacy with your twin flame, and you do it in the second body, I can assure you one thing, and one very important thing. And a lot of you are going to relate to this. The real twin flames are going to relate to this, and I know I'm going to get comments on this one. And they're going to say, geez, finally somebody's talking about it. But this is the most important thing of this third sign and symptom here of a twin flame union, the ability to be able to enhance that projection. Now, there's another little piece here that I wanted to add also, and it is this. Another thing that's available beyond the limitations here is the manifestation of achieving orgasm. You know, once the guy does it, that's it kind of thing, and everybody lays there exhausted. In this type of union, there's no limitations to what you can do and no limitations to what you can accomplish, if I can put it that way. And I'm going to call this one kind of 3A, because it just kind of came to me. And this one here I find really important here, because this is where people really have to start moving beyond what I call sexual inhibitions and limitations and belief systems and behavior modalities in regards to sexual expression. Open up and move beyond the traditional behavior and expression of sexuality and sexual energy, because this is what twin flames are capable of doing. And some of you have already done this, and this is twin flames in sexual union can change and bring to life one of their previous incarnation or timeline, lifeline, and manifest that in expression of union. Now, to edit that down a little bit more, what I'm saying to you is a set of twin flames can have and tap in to previous experiences. Now, I'm talking something here that is not only potentially possible, it is possible, and it's reality. But I want to tell you what a real twin flame triad is. On a very good expression between a set of twins, you have already heard me say many times that twin flames only have one higher self. If the frequency is right, and the mood is right, and you haven't had too much wine, and you haven't been out romancing like a couple of teenage kids by the old way of doing things, and you really want to get rocking and rolling and create that third energy, bring in the higher self. And bringing in the higher self as a frequency and adding it to the complementary aspects of yourself and your feminine self and your masculine self in physical reality, adding in the higher self, completes what is called the twin flame triad. Some of you have heard of it. This is what it is. You have no idea what you're missing, let alone what you're capable of, and how much your awareness can open and evolve and grow if you'll turn yourself open to some new concepts and ideas and start getting rid of the limitations that we've all been having. All previous templating and energetic connection to previous sexual partners is literally burnt off in the heat of the twins in union. This happens so that the creation of the third energy will achieve a high frequency. This will happen in the initial phase. It won't happen all in one day. It will happen over a period of time, because the lovemaking initially when they come together is very intense. and it's so beyond the imagination, they don't have time to think about it, and a whole sequence of events is happening. These are very important signs and symptoms I'm giving here, because the initial phases of the twins coming together far outweigh the significance and importance of any of these very minor signs that come up prior to a twin flame union. We're at this phase now where we're coming together. We don't need to know what's happened in the past or what's taken place or what is a sign of the past. We need to know what's happening now with twin flames, and this is now signs and symptoms, if I can put it that way. So when I say you carry the energetic template of a person, take me seriously, because I'm not kidding. So when twin flames come together, this must be burned off, and these energetic templates and the influences of other people must be dissolved and broken up, and that takes place automatically at a certain phase as they go, and it's a very important one also. Prior to a twin flame union, both individuals will go through a rite of passage where belief systems pertaining to love, relationships, and sexuality will be changed or dropped entirely. Now, this is one of the signs and symptoms that I think is, prior to coming into a twin flame union, probably one of the most important ones. I look at it a little differently, and that a set of twins will begin to meld and mold, as it were, but more in effect to begin to get them to wake up, hopefully. And a lot of their belief systems will start to change, be modified, and dropped in preparation thereof. Prior to their first meeting, twin flames will be able to, in their second body, travel to each other and experience sexual union. Now, I know a great many of you have experienced this, all right? But there's a purpose behind it, and that purpose needs to be explained. Prior to their first meeting, twin flames will be able to, in their second body, travel to each other and experience sexual union. This is done so that the two will recognize each other at all levels when they do actually meet for the first time in the physical. These experiences are a precursor to the bubble love state, and these second body excursions are perfectly normal and are arranged totally by the higher self and facilitated by the higher self to begin to get the set of twins, shall we say, reacquainted and reconnected at some levels in the lower frequencies. Otherwise, I can assure you, when they come together in regards to the first meeting, and as a matter of fact, there are twins who still can't handle it, and they actually run. This is a sign and symptom of a precursor to coming together, and it gives the twins the chance to entwine, to begin to get accustomed to the idea of different aspects and potentials that go beyond their present belief system. You see, here's the issue, and if I can elaborate here for a moment. We are so bloody limited, and we're so opinionated when it comes to how it manifests. If that, in fact, is a limiting factor, because in reality here, and you hear the other expression that we're androgynous by nature, well, yeah, we are. But not while we're in the physical. We're tied to all of these limitations. And this experience of wandering towards each other happens prior to it. Now, I need to mention something here also, that occasionally what happens is when you do have a set of twins that have come together and they've had time together, and then they need to separate. Not necessarily are they running from each other. They will continue to meet in whatever format for probably the rest of this incarnation. I wanted to add that in too. So these are for the benefit and for the continuing exchange of energy, if I can put it that way. I hope everybody understands. I know I'm going to get a lot of questions on this video, and that's okay. Now, some of you have heard me mention this before, that all twin flames are templated with a 12-chakra system. That is absolutely correct. All twin flames prior to meeting are templated and fully or partially activated of a 12-chakra system and an etheric body meridian system. I need to add that in. Some have these at birth, and some will manifest them later on in life as they're reaching into adulthood or prior to meeting. Usually, the 12 chakra system is already functioning to a degree, and the meridian system in the etheric body is already functioning to a degree, because from what I understand, if you go back to the first 3 or 4 signs that I gave you, the possibilities that open up during the twin flame union in the meeting and in the second body and the sexuality that I'm talking about, and really the imagination is the key here. It's also dependent upon the meridian system in the etheric body and how it functions together with the chakra system and how developed the two are. Now, you will notice when I'm giving signs and symptoms here, I take this very seriously. I like throw in humor at the same time, but I like to leave out all of the gaga and the goo-goo and the wine and the flowers and the fantasy and all the bells and whistles that everybody else puts up. What we need is some concrete, logical twin flame union explanation. Because what's happening here is I'm well aware that the third wave, those who are in their late teens, early 20s, mid-20s at this time, are now beginning to wake up, and they need this information, and a lot of other people could probably use some of this information also. Prior to entry into physical reality, each twin will have the synchronicities, coincidences of connection, pieces of information already known to both twins coming in. Each twin knows exactly where the other is at all times and what is happening. Now, the reason that I say this is because I have noticed that, let me put it this way, twin flames are a one soul in many bodies, but we have two that pertain to the what we call the priority union. Before coming in, there's a plan set up. All right, this is not done at random chance like many people like to say. This is done like a strategic battle plan. And the twins, prior to coming in, choose a strategic location, and they choose a degree of difficulty, if you can put it that way. So in reality, they know exactly from the moment they come in and the time they're born into the world, exactly all of the details about where their twin flame is, name that's going to be manifest. So all of these experiences that you hear about, well, they had a vision of their twin, or they suddenly had a name of their twin, or they dreamt about their twin, they haven't met him yet or her yet, and they're dreaming about this person and incidences and circumstances that are happening in their life. This is not complicated. It's mystical, it's magical, this is perfectly logical for these flashes, if I can put it that way, to happen to twin flames, because they get periods of awareness where they can tap in telepathically and they can know what this other person. But because they're conscious in physical reality, when it happens, they assume it's some kind of synchronicity or some kind of coincidence, or it's 11:11, so it's got to be this or it's got to be that. What it is a flash of information. If you are a one soul being and you're residing in two bodies in the physical, and this is all pre-planned, and the higher self has instrumented the whole plan, then it's logical as you begin to wake up and experience, you'll get flashes here, a piece there, a piece there. It's perfectly explainable. And I hear it all the time, and I understand totally what people are talking about. And what people have done is they've taken this one phase and they've written about what they call about 10 or 15 twin flame signs about it, and it's all one and the same thing, really. It's just one typical sign. What it means is they're tapping in because they know where each other are. They even know what's going to manifest. They know all this at a higher level, but they only get bits and pieces and flashes of it. Does that explain to a lot of you what's going on? It's all there. And it's easily to connect the mystique out of twin flame. It's perfectly logical how to explain it. It doesn't take a banana salesman to do this. If you come down, because we have aspects and assets that other people don't have access to at this time. Okay? Twin flames share all positive and negative aspects between them. All creative talents are already there. Now, another area here that seems to get misconstrued in regards to twin flame signs is this. All of the creative talents that twin flames will manifest, and twin flames come into physical reality because we're volunteer graduates. Graduate souls, when they come in, they are already in previous timelines, dimensions, realities, and incarnations develop certain skills, talents, and abilities, creative abilities, if you want to call them that. When they do come together, the potential for these to reawaken is very, very pronounced and very, very enhanced at all levels. I can tell you volunteering for this world is not a piece of cake. And in some cases, it can start to happen even before they come together. So it's perfectly explainable why this happens in this particular way when it comes to creative talents and abilities. And again, I go back to the aspect of connecting in the second body and learning to travel in the second body. Just to go back to the second body for a moment, twin flames can actually move in the second body and bilocate in the second body and travel in the second body, all while they're in the motion of physically connecting. The other thing that I want to mention that I forgot here in regards, and I'm kind of repeating myself here, is in the normal sexual experience, you work up a sweat. Well, actually, in a twin flame union, the sexual connection that makes between the two who are melded together, the more infinite the possibilities of energies become. So like I say here, the sexual expression has not reached its potential. Let me add this in. So the creative abilities are no great discovery in this perspective. Prior to meeting, and as part of their mission, take on the templating of dysfunctional energetic templating of the genealogy they incarnate into. They are able to cleanse and release much of this templating, giving the opportunity of many souls in their family, soul group, the privilege of not having to do so. Now, I don't think that enough is talked about in this sign. As I said, this is a very important twin flame sign because it is something that every set and every twin flame will do. Twins are here for a mission. You will notice that the signs here emphasize the mission. You will also notice that if everyone thinks that a set of twin flames doesn't have any fun, you have no idea what we're capable of in the potential. What I have touched upon in the first 3 or 4 of these, I could write an encyclopedia on, and most of you wouldn't even believe it. This is what's available. So if anyone thinks that there's not sexuality and expression in a twin flame union, I can assure you otherwise. And if you think there's not romance, when twin flames move into the second body, and when they want to romance, they don't have to do it in the bedroom. They can do it in the stars. They can do it on another planet. So don't ever concern yourself that we're not having fun. Now, this sign number 10 is very important in the respect that every set of twin flames has a mission. One of the questions that I get all the time is, well, what's our mission? This is the priority, first of all, of the mission before you even meet your twin. You volunteer to do this, and you take on the templating of your family tree. And most of you know this, and I'll probably get some, verification on this also. And it's very important to remember that it allows that in some cases here, I need to mention that I forgot a line here on bottom, is you can actually clear the templating and the energetic dysfunctional patterns in a family tree, and it could be race, it could be religion, it could be a multitude, dysfunctional habit patterns, addictions, whatever. And what happens also, because you've done the work, you've cleansed it, you twin flames need to give yourself a rousing good pat on the back, even though you may not know what you've been doing. I know what you've been doing. All twin flames in meeting physically The meld will link the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, the etheric, and physical together. It will allow the twins to experience and share each other at all these levels. Examples of this are visions, dreams, telepathy. This meld, or merge, creates the mirror effect that so many talk about. Many times I've heard people giving information on twin flames that talk about mirror each other. The mirror effect is a very positive sign in regards to twin flame union. The issue at hand is this: when it comes to twin flames, it doesn't deal with what's happening now with twin flames. It's not dealing with now that's going on in this particular situation. If a set of twins can realize that this five-body meld and merge, and this is so crucial information. If they understand this meld and merge, and if they understand which particular aspect that they may be dealing with, then they can understand what is being mirrored. And then they can understand that all of this is happening not as a form of punishment or as this other stupid thing that other people keep putting up, that twins have karma. I've never heard such bullshit in my life, because it's not true at all. What's happening is any of the, look at it this way: when the bubble effect comes down and you have the mirror effect start to take place and the buttons get pushed and the issues start coming up, why is that happening? It's happening because in that bubble effect, the twins were in perfect union, and harmonization at all levels for a period of time. But it can't stay there permanently, because all of that templating has to change and evolve, and they can't handle a consistent, their body won't handle a consistent frequency of that height, if I can put it that way, so they must come down, so the mirror effect begins. But they don't understand what's going on when the fighting and the arguing and the issues and the templating starts coming up. If they understood what was going on, and we actually had some people who knew what the hell they were talking about, with all of these twin flame advisors and counselors that we have who don't know what they're talking about, and I don't mind saying so, we would have more twin flames that would be coming together. And this is actually again, another important sign that the five-body meld is crucial. And it's crucial to understand that this is a very, very important sign and symptom of a twin flame union. And it should not be taken lightly when it happens, this mirror effect. And again, what's happened is I've heard people make about 7 or 8 different twin flame signs, all out of this mirror effect, when it's all composed into one. And you have to understand that all of this happens simply because of the energy that's between the two, because what's happening is trying to purge and cleanse itself so that the two can move into returning. As they grow more and they eliminate, they'll reach higher and higher in frequency until they can go back right to the original. I personally believe, and I know it for a fact, that when a set of twin flames go into the bubble love phase and they experience the euphoria, it's quite a feeling, and I know that people will agree with me. Your body, your mental body, your physical body, your etheric body has to be able to maintain that frequency. So this is what initiates the mirror effect. This is not rocket science. It's relatively easy to understand. And if people say, you think maybe I'm being arrogant, look like I know it all. I don't. I'm trying to present it very simply, and so that you can understand it also. Because of the union of twin flames, there are the potential of very powerful healing abilities available to a set of twin flames. If the five-body meld and merge takes a unfoldment where the union of the five-body meld and merge becomes cleansed and purified, and to a certain degree, it doesn't need to be perfect. I believe that reasonably close will do. That the twin flames, both of them potentially can manifest as exceptionally skilled healers. I know this beyond a shadow of a doubt, simply because in the case of the healing modality that I learned in the Dream State School, because it was taught to me by One Soul beings at the time, most of the people that I have actually trained to the modality are all twin flames, as a matter of fact, which is kind of coincidence. So this is a very important sign also. The twin flames have exceptional healing abilities, and this is really unique. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention here, this is not really a sign, you might call this a statement for lack of a better expression here. Now, I do have more signs and symptoms, but I think this is enough that I wanted to read this last little paragraph because I think it's important here to make this point so that people understand. The whole unfoldment of the twin flame union is not by chance, coincidence, because the whole experience is planned, unfolded, and brought into fruition by the higher self. And because we are limited in our awareness, we grasp only fragments of the unfoldment. I'll make a prediction. I'm going to repeat it again, just for the sake of it. The whole unfoldment of the twin flame union is not by chance, coincidence, or synchronicities, because the whole experience is planned, unfolded, and brought into its fruition by the higher self. And because we are limited in our consciousness at this time, we grasp only fragments of the unfoldment of the union. It's not uncommon at all for twin flames to actually connect years after they've been married to somebody else. The situation is, again, as I need to mention, and some people say, well, why would higher self do this? What happens is it's an oversoul situation. Here, for example, a lot of women, when they meet the twin flame, immediately the light goes on, and it's relationship and relationship expectations. I don't know how many times I've gone over this, and it hasn't really changed all that much. Well, I don't follow that mindset either. I know for a fact that when a pair of twin flames, a graduate soul, come in, both come down together because they're half of the same energy being. So therefore, they both have qualities, they both have experiences, and what happens when they come into physical reality, whether they know it or not, when you have that telepathic communication with your twin, whether you're 5,000 miles apart, what do you think is going on? There's an exchange going on, and I know what I'm talking about. So the situation is when you have a couple that's married, and they're in these relationship, it's a very difficult situation because based on their templating, based on their belief systems, here is what we have learned over the years about this situation. Depending upon the person's, and I'm going to use this word here, religious indoctrination. And religious indoctrination is exactly that. It impresses upon you certain modes of belief and behavior expectations. And this is presented as a belief system to you. And along with that goes relationship expectations that you have been downloaded with in regards to your family, your mother, your father. So you are in a situation that you will have to evaluate yourself and say to yourself, you see, because what happens here is when the twin flames connect, they go into what I call the bubble love phase. And everything is wonderful and everything is beautiful for a period of time. And then what happens is they kind of come down in frequency and the reality of the situation explodes right in their face. And then they have to react to it as to how they're going to deal with it. One of the things that I do know for a fact, 9 times out of 10, if you're going to find a runner, females do run also, but 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the male. And if you happen to be married, if they're in this situation and they connect with their twin flame, are going to run back into their marriage because it's an easy option in that particular endeavor. The other thing is if you're in a marriage who both had children on both sides and they both met their twin flames. So with a little prodding, I found out, go back to how they were brought up and look at the character of the individual in question. See, here's the thing. When you get to the married aspect of the twin flame thing, it becomes a personal reflection of the situation that you are in. But the connection between them and their twin flame still goes on telepathically. It still goes on from the spiritual body. It still goes on from the dream state. And they're still doing work. They actually do spiritual work. So many people go on the internet and they go on YouTube and they read all of these definitions of twin flames that have been so anal retentive, if I can put that word, for so long. They have not changed. They have not varied. There has been no expansion, no evolution. So here we have these married twin flames, some of them who are understanding what's going on. So when you have a married couple and they actually are wondering, and here's another situation that I want to discuss. One is separated and one is actually married. And they are communicating with each other, and I've seen this I don't know how many times in the last 3 or 4 years, where they're communicating with each other. Now, obviously, the one who's single wants the one who's married to be with them. And you need to understand that a twin flame union or a coming together is not going to come together according to conscious you wants and desires that you have been programmed with from the time you went through puberty. And you need to understand that. And I'm going to repeat this so that people understand it. When you find yourself in a situation where you've met your twin flame, one of you is married, the other one is not, and the one who is not is definitely wanting the other one, or is the one going to come together, you have to keep in mind that the other one that is married has come through relationship templating and behavioral modalities, and they have to deal with that. So it starts to happen. So let me emphasize this point to all of those who are out there who are twin flames. Okay? Listen closely to what I'm going to say. You volunteered for this work. You volunteered. You volunteered and you were selected for this because within you and in your past experience, you have the character, you have the strength, you have the wherewithal, you have the stamina, and you have the ingredients to succeed at the mission. What is happening is you've only become blanketed or layered with all of this crud and crap of the particular soul group that you came into. Each and every one of you are capable of rising up, around, and above this, but it takes a period of time. You wouldn't have been chosen to do this if you weren't capable of doing it. Don't give up on any aspect of being together with your twin, but give up on personally trying to control the evolution of you and your twin coming together. When you do that, you will find things will flow much differently for you.
Om Bhuvah Swaha Tatsavitu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhuvah Swaha Tatsavitu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhuvah Swaha Tatsavitu Varenyam Bhargo